Are scale figures actually worth the hype, or are you being oversold on something that doesn't really deliver? Is there a difference between a price figure like this and a big scale figure? Well, let me show you. But as we get into this discussion, there are two terms you actually need to be aware of, and that is scale figure and price figure. What is the distinction between these two, and how do you know which is which? The original definition is, of course, a prize that you could win at an arcade in Japan, but these days it mostly refers to a cheap and mass-produced figure of a well-known anime character, such as Hatsune Miku. Whereas with scale figure, it actually refers to a dimension and a size, so they can come in a 1/7 scale like this one, or 1/8 scale like you get on this Albedo. But there's actually a lot more than just size and volume of plastic that distinguish a scale figure from its price figure equivalent. So let's really dive into this by comparing the Chloe Sakamata scale figure to the much more affordable Chloe Sakamata PopUp Parade version. As this is the same character in two very different price classes, I actually think this is going to be a really good comparison between a scale figure and a more affordable option. And this figure here is actually going to be a great comparison because it has so much to offer that you don't see even with other scale figures. And what better way to start than work our way outside and in. So let's just see. If you look at the box art itself, you can see there is a lot going on this box art itself. You get clear pictures of what this figure looks like on basically all sides, and you actually have a holographic design on the box art itself that really just showcases exactly how much value they put into just the box itself. And you know, if they splurge on the box, you know that the contents inside is going to deliver far beyond that. A really great place to see where they put this attention to detail in is here on the stamp itself. It is a texture sort of font that you can feel has a different texture to the rest of the box art, and it really makes it stick out and has a different glare here in the light compared to the rest of the box. And it stands in stark comparison to this PopUp Parade here. As you can see, it has a clear and transparent box. The name tag itself is just printed on this paper here. It's very visible, it's very clear. We actually love PopUp Parade because you have this transparent box here that shows off the figure what it's actually and really gonna look like. If it has any flaws or any sort of details missing that you don't like, you can actually see it right here in the box. So it holds a lot of value, but compared to the scale figure, you're going to see that they don't invest a lot of money into the box itself, and that's just a way to push the prices down on these kinds of figures. And although I wish I could do an unboxing of this, this is the only copy of this we have, and we're going to bring this out to a few cons this year to see if we have fans that are going to love this. Otherwise, later this year I might actually do an unboxing and a product review, but for now we're mostly going to discuss the difference between scales and price figures. And looking at the figure itself, you're going to have a couple of things that distinguishes it immediately. And that is looking at the base here, working our way up. You have the figure placed on a rug, and that rug is actually properly textured. It's not just filled plastic, but this carpet here, or this rug, actually has a texture that you can feel with your fingers. And moving on, good look is here. You can see that Chloe actually has this jacket on, and per Max Factory that is also textured, not just as a fabric, but you actually have different textures from the inside to the outside of that jacket. And you can see here there is also a hoodie. And something that you get with a scale figure like this is the option to remove and add clothing. So you can see here you have the hoodie and the jacket on, whereas on this version here you actually have removed the hoodie but kept the jacket on. If you want to have a completely unjacked Chloe Sakamata, that is actually an option as well. So not only do you have the details with the diorama, with the texture, you actually have the option on how you wish to style your figure. And speaking of diorama, going back to the base, you have Chloe not just on a rug, but on an orca sitting right there. So you have not just the character itself sitting on a plain base, you have dimensions to that as well. So sitting on a rug, that's on an orca, with removable attachments, that is just mind-blowing. And that is almost underselling the quality and amount of detail that go into this figure right here. So then, what do you get with the PopUp Parade version? So although it's a little bit hard to see, but you actually get a lot of detail in this PopUp Parade as well. Not so much in the box itself, which is a way of cost saving to make this more affordable, but on the figure itself you actually have belts, buckles. She has her thighs on, and on the thighs itself, it's maybe hard to see, but you actually see that they put labels and stickers and you have holes in it. So a lot of details is still brought into this character, into the design, and into the production. And looking closer, even at the one I'm holding here, there's no color smudges, there's no smear, and the quality and the execution of this character here and on this figure is mind-blowing. It is a 100% flawless execution of this character. Even on the belt, you can see it says 06 on it. Like, it's clearly readable, it's very visible. Have details in the eyes, you can see the tooth on her lip. So although you don't get all the extravagant details as with a scale figure, we have removable clothing and texture, you still have a figure that brings a lot of life into it, but it doesn't really compare with what you get with a scale figure. One thing being that the base is a clear white plastic base. You don't have an orca with this one, you don't have a rug unless you make one, and that just really shows that with a scale figure, in my opinion, you get so much more for the money. And that is just comparing one character figure to another. There are hundreds of versions of scale figures and price figures that you can compare, draw comparisons to. A lot of manufacturers have different amount of quality assurance. You can have some manufacturers that unfortunately really under-delivers, both in their scale figures as well as in price figures like these. In my mind, when it comes to this scale figure in particular, absolutely. For the price that this one has, it blows everything else out of the water. It punches above its current price class, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to go really fast at the conventions that we have this summer. It is from HoloLive, which a lot of people love, and I'm going to be honest, in terms of scale figures, this is the best one to really demonstrate the insane amount of detail and beauty that you can get with a scale figure like this. But just because the scale figure really punches above its weight class doesn't mean that these affordable figures are not worth it. Like I mentioned, this one packs a lot of detail, a lot of work goes into making these, and with Good Smile Company in general and the PopUp Parade line, they put a lot of effort into quality assurance, which includes things like color deviations or color smears. On some of these figures from other brands, you might have smudges and smears from the fine lines, like on belts, straps and buttons on the shirt. But with this figure, because I can actually see this figure itself, not just the product pictures, I can see that this one is executed flawlessly, and in my mind, you have to make the decision. If you think a scale figure is worth it, we absolutely support you. But if you prefer to collect these more affordable options, they are also very much worth the money. And that's what makes this discussion so difficult, because a lot of people are against scale figures. They think they're a waste of money because you're just paying for more plastic, but that's just not the full truth. What a scale figure does with this dioramic style on the base, it brings your room or the environment you place it in to life. You have something that is dioramic, it brings a lot of fun details to life that you don't get with a static posing like this PopUp Parade. So, what do you think? Are scale figures worth it? Are they overhyped, or should just people stick to getting price figures and PopUp Parades and just stick in the cheaper price classes? Or is the opposite true? Are these a waste of plastic? Are they too cheap? You might as well save up and get a proper figure that is really gonna bring your character to life.